I'm not gonna fake. I feel as though for this last month, I knew what it was like to live on Arrakis because we weren't getting news about anything in any way, shape, or form. We were all sitting around waiting for the roadmap. We had all collectively, what have we collectively done? I've done 774 hours on this game. I've played the shit out of this game. I absolutely love this game. But we have been sitting around dealing with dupers and bugs and inventory losses, and all we wanted was information. We just wanted somebody to come up to us, put their hand on our shoulder, and say, "Don't worry, I got you." And we're finally getting some fucking information right now. So, developer update for Dune Awakening, developer roadmap, and future plans. Discover our plans for both the short and the long term. Looks like this might be a little bit of a doozy. How long is this one? That's not that bad. Hi, everybody. It's been a while since we put on our last letter, and people have been chomping at the bit to hear about our plans for the future. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I apologize if people feel the communication around issues within the game has been lacking. We are focused on improving this, with a percentage of the team having their well-earned and stated mandated vacations. Customer service and the community team have not always had access to developers who can answer their every question, which I think is something that a lot of people forgot, which is when the game came out, like literally the vast majority of the studio went on break. It's been, for the most part, a skeleton crew. They've been working on the game. I'm assuming there was a little bit of crunch time towards the end. We know that Landsrad and Deep Desert did not launch in the state that we had hoped that it would launch in. We'd seen bugs running around rampant, but for the most part, it was a skeleton crew. It seems as though we now have the crew back in the saddle. We've been playing whack-a-mole with bugs, cheats, and exploits during the July month of the summer. We've banned thousands of cheaters, fixed a bunch of, but you haven't banned them all. I need them all banned. I need the ability to go to the cheater's house, put them in the trunk of my car, drive them out into the center of the Mojave Desert, put down a thumper, and have them swallowed whole by Shai Halud. I need the ability to do that. Every time I walk into either Harko or Arakeen and I see one of those fucking bags on the floor, I need the ability to push a button, drop a thumper into that person's living room, and have Shai Halud delete them from existence. Candace Badge allows us to timetable make stable and consistent fixes while being fast enough to address issues like exploits before they get too far out of control. Live game development is a blend of reactivity and long-term planning. You're absolutely right. This week at Gamescom, we're going to be talking about Chapter 2 free update and the Lost Harvest DLC, our first major additions to the game. Blessed be the maker. Blessed be the maker. This week, no, I already read this week at Gamescom. Some of you will note that while Chapter 2 and the DLC add new content cosmetics to the game, they are not focused on the end game. This is because Chapter 2 and the DLC were planned and began development before launch. Take a look at the roadmap below. You can see both the free updates and the paid DLCs planned for the near future, and our monthly development cycle as it pertains to player feedback, bugs, and cheats. This monthly cadence is not necessarily always achieved, but it serves to give a window into our approach. So what do we have? Monthly, we have monitoring player feedback, bugs, cheats, into reproducing internally. I'm assuming that when bugs and cheats are discovered, they reproduce them internally to see exactly how they occur. Implementing fixes and improvements, patching to test live, tweak as needed, patching to live, monitoring player feedback. It's an endless loop. Every single time they fix the game, they're going to break something. And every single time they break something, somebody's going to be trying to get their ass in there to see how they can just work the hardest to achieve the least. Just circumventing the man in order to produce absolutely fucking nothing. We've got Chapter 2, main story continues. If you don't remember where the main story left off, we basically lost, oh my god, what is his name? Zentara. Oh no, is that Motherfucker, it's been a month, okay? Like, if you don't know that we lost Big Daddy Z, I don't know what to tell you. Character recustomization, thank God. Dynamic encounters, social hub contracts, yes. New deep desert layouts. Finally, I feel as though I've played the deep desert enough that when I enter a tile and I see a certain formation, I know exactly how that tile is set up. New archetype weapons, new hairstyles and tattoos, plus more. Here's the thing: Chapter 2 has Zantara's bat. Who's going to adopt the bat? I want the bat. I would like to adopt the bat. I would like to adopt the bat, and the bat should operate like an eagle from Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Origins, where I toss the bat into the sky and it scopes out the area for me. Instead of using a instead of using the handheld scanner, the bat is the scanner. Send his ass into the sky, make him do some work. Chapter 3 is revamped endgame and more, which it looks as though Chapter 3 with the revamped endgame is going to be in January and March 2026. And then Chapter 4 is to be revealed, and Chapter 4 will be dropping April to June 2026. If these brackets are lining up with the things at the bottom. Yeah, free updates are at the top, and then we've got the DLCs at the bottom. The first DLC we're getting is Lost Harvest. New vehicle. For the love of God, please let this vehicle be something that I can use to farm flower sand. The decision to change flower sand and move it out into fucking Guam was a horrible idea. I do not like that change in any way, shape, or form. It makes it more tedious than anything. So if it's a new vehicle that allows me to farm flower sand, I'll be absolutely happy. New contract chain with unique locations, excellent. The world map is gigantic, and so far we only really have 7 destinations. More new unique destinations that we can go and visit would be super fucking cool. I also really want them to reopen a lot of the old destinations that we went to during the story missions, and you can either make them single player dungeons that we can go in that have high level enemies to more or less challenge ourselves and challenge our builds that have loot rewards at the end, or open them up to exploration for multi-man teams. That would also involve them working on the servers to allow multiple people to leave in one thopter and arrive at a destination. New building pieces and decorations. We're tearing down the house and rebuilding it again, baby. We've done it before. We built it in Chobe, then we rebuilt it as Atreides, then we rebuilt it as a Harkonnen, then we went back to Atreides, and now we're rocking like this weird desert sand thing that's mostly Chobe. Building pieces and decorations are like 2 of my favorite things in this game. So if we're going to continue being able to hit that nail on the head, I will be absolutely happy. New armor and weapon skins, thank God. And new swatch and emotes. Please let this paid DLC please make it allow swatches to be universal. I do not understand why the Atreides and Harkonnen swatches are universal for the houses, but then for every other house that you unlock a swatch from using Landsrad, it's only for a specific thing. That sucks. I do not like that system. I would prefer if the swatches were universal across the board for everything, from your vehicles all the way to your armor, all the way to your weapons. That would be great, and more. So we've got a lot of stuff coming in the free update, which is in September, and then we're also going to have a lot of stuff with Lost Harvest as the paid DLC. Raiders of the Broken Lands. Cosmetic. The Broken Lands are shattered plains of broken rock, known for their fearsome raiders. Fuck yeah. If you're not going to give me Sardaukar, give me something that is equally as dangerous. I am there. And then next year, April to June 2026, is the Water Wars. Water is life. The water shipper families are at war, fighting for control of the polar caps of Arrakis, which means we are going to the north, baby, beyond the deep desert, which I know a lot of people have issues with the way in which the deep desert is shown on the map, but I think, was it a developer that said that we're looking at it from a top-down perspective, and it's more like you gotta rotate it to the side a little bit, where the deep desert isn't just something that's to the south. The deep desert is something that expands not only from the south, but across the northern equator and covers giant swaths of the north as well. We're just basically in the civilized north, and we're in like a small piece of the deep desert. And then in 2026, we've got expansion to consoles. I know a bunch of console friends that are absolutely waiting for this game to come out on consoles for them to play. I am happily beta testing this game for them so that when this game finally hits consoles, they're able to have just an absolute blast and be fucking locked in. We've got more free updates and more DLCs. That is a beautiful roadmap. That roadmap is gorgeous. Like they did this. This is what I needed, and I'm super excited for next month. I never really got really far into Ark or Ark Survival. I know there are people that play Ark and Ark Survival and who've put like 10,000, 50,000 hours into their playtime and their characters. This is my Ark Survival. I love this game. I know a lot of people fell off of this game, but I think 85% of this game is fantastic. The last 15% is the end game, and it needed a little bit more work. Jumping on, we will share more about the major content and features coming in Chapter 2 and DLC soon. So I'm assuming Gamescom, since Gamescom is this week, we'll be seeing a little bit more of that. But in terms of quality of life improvements, we're adding the ability to rename vehicles. Finally, my Tier 6 Scout Thruster Thopter will finally be named the Bugatti. Finally. Storage containers and other placeables, thank God. More reliable ornithopter rockets for combat enthusiasts, and the highly requested option to swap seats in a vehicle with a hotkey. All of these features will be available for testing on the public test client soon, which means I have to download the public test client because I want to try that out. So let's talk about the end game. During summer, we made changes and tweaks to the formula of the Deep Desert with varying degrees of success. We've attracted very different demographics to the game, and they are asking for very different things. You're absolutely correct. You have the way in which I look at it is, if you look at it as a pie, I would say 60% of the people who play this game are the survival enthusiasts. They're the builders. They're the people who farm resources. They're those type of players. After that 60%, I would say 30% are the people that are playing it because it's a massively multiplayer online game that has loot, that has cosmetics, that has a level of exploration. Then beyond that, you've got 10%, which is the PvP people. However, the loudest people in the room are the 10%. Why? Because the PvP people are the sweats that are willing to get on Reddit and create 50 threads every single fucking day bemoaning the exact same thing and echo chambering each other. For the most part, a lot of the people like me in my friends group are the ones that came in, played the game for around 200 to 400 hours, and then we're like, all right, I'm done for right now. I'll come back when they add something. Or they played it for 200, 300 hours and something happened, and they're like, okay, I'll be back when they fix that thing. But I've got a bunch of friends that are jumping in, jumping off. They log in to make sure that their base is being maintained, or they are a part of our friend guild, and I check out their houses to make sure that they've got power and things along those lines. So they're coming back. Or if they choose not to come back, you got 400 hours for a $50 game. That's not that bad either. We've identified several core issues: loss of items, vehicles, players feeling they are forced into PvP, exploits and cheats, and lack of endgame content grind. There are things that we can do in the short term to address some of these things, and things that take us longer to improve. Short term, improved player logging. One of the key frustrations we see is the lack of information and clarity around why certain items, objects, vehicles are gone. We will increase the information in your log so that you have a better idea of what is going on. For example, listing the names of people who take things from chests in your base. Thank God. Thank God. Because there was a bug exploit that you could do that could get you into somebody's base, allow you to change their thing while they're offline, and you could take their stuff, and you would log in and have nothing. Like your crates and stuff would have been moved around into the hangar of your base because they've been loading up their assault, flying back and forth from their base. Thank you. That makes it so that now that we have improved player logging for situations like that, if they occur in the future, you can report it. They can look in your logs and they can go, this person banned. Vehicle salvaging system. We're working on a vehicle salvage system that will allow you to recover lost vehicles. That is also good. It sucks having to sit around and wait for a admin or a mod to give you back that vehicle. Sometimes it'll be in an hour, other times it'll be in 2 weeks. Cobalt paste slash vehicle inventory. We're adjusting the volume of the infamous. My man finally got his wish. He doesn't have to post. He doesn't have to post every single day anymore. And adding more slots to the assault ornithopter vehicle inventory, we will be adding a cargo container that can be carried by the carrier ornithopter. Which they call me a madman. I'm having my Thanos moment here, but they called me a madman. Like I lived on Titan, and Titan had a dream, and that dream was Mother Base from Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, where I can have giant cargo containers lined up that are all different things. One's for metals, one's for fuel cells, one's for cobalt paste, one's for plastone. Just multiple cargo containers that hold a ton of stuff, that when I'm going from point A to point B, or if I'm moving bases, I can just pick up the cargo container, carry it with me to the destination, drop it down, and I can keep it moving from there. So that is great to see. Instance deep desert loot. The constant camping and queuing of the deep desert testing station leads to a frustrating experience where players arrive at an empty testing station. We're going to change these to be more in line with the rest of the game. Thank you, Jesus. The current thing that we're hunting is that damn Regis pistol. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's the one that if you fire it, it can knock your shields off in like one shot, right? It's in G8 this week. Who knows what the hell it will be next week. The people that are camping that ship need to be dragged out into the sands and left to the desert, because the amount of camping going on in that ship is too damn high. Offline notifications about important events. We understand that not everybody can or wants to log in to check power/taxes constantly in the game. We would like to create a notification service that sends you the status of your base via email. That is a great idea, and once again, thank you, Ben. These are in addition to the current slate of UI, UX improvements, continued crackdown of exploiters and cheaters, stability improvements. Now let's talk about longer term planning and what we have in store for the end game. As we mentioned previously, the Landsrat is supposed to be the end game activity driver. Currently, it does not have the breadth or depth of content or progression to serve that function. You are absolutely correct. As we work towards Chapter 3, we'll begin to tie the faction progression of the game to Landsrad, while also systematically building out the Landsrad with a greater variety of activities across the world. As a player, this means that you can increase your faction rank by completing Landsrad tasks, checking in with your Duke or Baron occasionally to perform special missions, and visit faction vendors. Blessed be the maker. Blessed be the fucking maker. This ensures that people are rewarded for solo play, as well as making contributions easier for them to track, and will give you many choices in how you progress over time. As the planned activities, we have plenty in mind. In addition to current testing stations and shipwrecks, the following list contains examples and not promises, as these will take work and time to deliver. But currently we're thinking of things like assassinations. That's pretty cool. We kind of low-key had assassination missions in regards to the story mission, but they were a little bit janky. I would hope that we have assassination missions that are a little bit more challenging. That one mission that we had to go invade the water shipper's mansion is a good example of what an assassination mission could be, but the way in which the alert system worked in that mission definitely needs to be updated. Treasure maps, races. Finally, you guys that build sand bikes and race them in the deep desert, get your wish. Construction challenges, duels. Finally, you guys who build coliseums in the deep desert, get your wish. Faction versus faction maps. Thank God. I lost my place. Improved control points. Also, thank God. Scavenger hunts, temporary crafting challenges, etc., etc. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Like I said, I'll happily beta test this shit until we get the ultimate version of the game that ends up dropping on fucking consoles. These activities will make use of the overland map, spawning in new maps as required. I love to see it. I love to see it, and I love to hear it. We have always wanted to flesh out the overland map over time, and this will boost that along. Of course, we are open to your suggestions, so please share with us on social media the kinds of activities you would like to see in the lands rad. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. On the main map, faction versus faction. You can have the Spice Guild has a spice melange carrier from the movie that has taken damage and is injured, and it's going to end up being swallowed by Shai Halud. You can have a team of 50 or 100 Atreides on one side with 50 or 100 Harkonnen on the other. And if you don't feel like doing the faction versus faction thing because maybe the server is imbalanced, you could just call everyone mercenaries who's out for themselves. And whichever team wins gains a ton of spice and rewards. This would be really, really, really fucking good. Of course, you wouldn't get the rewards there. The rewards will probably be something that's given to you at your faction vendor, but that's just one example. Another example is the Sardaukar taking over an area, and then you and a team of friends have to go in and basically clear them out of the area using everything from vehicles, ornithopters, things along those lines, because they also have their own vehicles and weapons as well. Of course, there's the fact that they said that the Sardaukar are basically the scariest big bad in the game. Basically, big bad scarier than the Fremen. So that's just an option, but we'll see. Of course, I read that already. As the Landsra activities become more fleshed out, we will then transition the deep desert back towards the original intention, a sandbox area players can complete for control of spice. We'll continue to iterate on the deep desert, adding no-fly zones to enforce ground. Blessed be the maker, for he is wise. The most fun I have had over this last week since this big change, the most fun I've had is getting in my buggy and driving my buggy from like C3 to maybe like C1, or maybe even as far out as like C6. It's been the most fun that I've had in the game ever, because there's a threat of the sandworm, whether or not I'm going to make that distance, but then there's also the threat of managing the amount of fuel you're carrying on you and items you're carrying on you for such an expedition out into the deep desert. The idea of creating complete no-fly zones where you can only get there either on the buggy or on the sand bike is a wonderful idea. It cuts down on the amount of people able to grief, and by grief I mean you talentless fucks. Hold on, because I feel as though we have to do the Pedro Pascal thing. I want you to know that I'm talking to you, you talentless fuck, that all you can do is sit in a thopter and shoot at somebody when they're not moving and sitting in one place. And the second you get in the thopter, all of a sudden you can't aim for shit. I'm talking to you. I've cooked so many of you one-on-one inside of those PvP testing stations because you have that exact mentality. Or you run into that testing station with your fucking ancient way, thinking you're gonna pop off, and then I kill you, and then you're waiting for me outside in your thopter, circling and hovering because you couldn't beat me on the ground. This is for you. We are going to catch so many more of you lacking out there. We're about to find out who can fight and who can't. And there's going to be a lot of you getting put down. Now, back to our back to our regularly scheduled program. No fly zones to enforce ground combat, adding more layouts with more variety and challenge, and ensuring that there is a clear progression. In addition, we are experimenting with the tech behind the deep desert. And if things go well, you'll be experiencing the deep desert in a much more stable environment, which means you will no longer, I feel as though they're upgrading the servers so that you're no longer going to hit that weird server boundary that either it causes you to like hiccup as you're flying, and has been the bane of a lot of people. I've lost an assault carrier to this. I've lost 2 scouts to this. I know friends who've lost ships to this. It pisses everyone off. If we can get that out of the way and we can create a much more stable environment where it's seamless, where I can fly from one end of the map to the other end of the map and there's no load times, while also increasing the draw distance so that I can see people from way further out, That would be fucking beautiful. A lot of this will become our focus in the latter half of 2025. We hope to make significant changes that will satisfy and thrill you. Hopefully, you agree when we say that we have a great foundation for the end game, which we can build on moving forward. Thank you from the Funcom Dune Awakening team. I'm excited. I'm excited. Give it to me. Give it to me now. I want it. All of this sounds absolutely great. I know that there were some frustrations. I know that there were some pain points, but for the most part, man, like, look, we're sitting at 774 hours right now. We're sitting at 774 hours right now. I'm here to tell you right now, by next year around this time, I'll probably be sitting at like 4,000, 5,000 hours. This is my game. This is the game that I feel the most happy playing. I've already figured out what the gameplay loop is that I enjoy the most. My favorite gameplay loop is starting a new character, running that character all the way up to just before going off into the deep desert, and then going back and playing one of my two main characters. I have a main character over on one server, and then I've joined the bubble, or should I say the hubble of all of us jumping over each other to join Harmony. I was on Harmony before everybody else. You just got there now. I've been there for a while. But playing on Harmony, experiencing the game on Harmony the way in which it's supposed to be, with this big thriving community, ignoring the fact that they're fucking dupers, all that type of shit. I'm excited for the game to have a second renaissance, and I'm hoping it has a second renaissance, because the arguments that people have about the game are rooted in the fact that there are certain systems in the game that just piss people off and drive people away. And it looks as though they're making the correct changes to basically get the ball rolling on this game. But I'm gonna know what you guys think. If you quit, will you come back? If you're still playing, are you excited as I am for all of this? Comment down below, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.